Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Padango puppy, Sophie. Welcome. It has been an age since I podcast last. I apologize for that, but I have been working a lot, and it hasn't stopped me from knitting so much as it stopped me from being able to have the ability to sit and do this, talk with you guys, get it all ready, and then also edit it. I've worked a lot of weekends, and then the few weekends I've had the past couple of weekends off, but I've been trying to catch up on other things like spending time with my kids and whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to podcast today. It's probably going to be awkward, and I'm going to do things wrong. I've already forgotten to set up my microphone, so hopefully the sound won't be too bad, but that's the way it goes. And the reason why I can get away with podcasting today is, I don't know if you can tell, but out there's a storm. It is snowing. We're supposed to have Snowmageddon. They're talking about maybe 2 feet of snow this weekend, and so we set aside the whole weekend to just be in the house and be together. And right now, that being together is to be in separate rooms. Everybody else is doing other things, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to podcast. So let's go ahead and get into it. It really has been an age. I think I last podcast maybe the beginning of January, New Year's Day, something like that. So it is now March 13th. And that means it's been close to 3 months. So yeah, I do have some things to show you, and some of them have been finished for a very long time, and I apologize for that. The first one is my blanket, and we have been using it, and I've left the stitch marker in from where I was at when I showed you guys last, and it keeps bothering me, and I'm like, well, you know what, I got a podcast so I can show it, and then I can take the stitch marker off. So now I'm showing it. If you are new to the podcast, then I will tell you that this is a garter stitch blanket that I knit out of a bunch of 5-gram minis that I had for so many years, probably close to 10 years. I had been doing a lot of swapping on Ravelry back in the day, and we did a bunch of mini swaps. And back then you couldn't get minis from indie dyers. The miniest you could get was 50 grams, and so we do a lot of purchasing a full skein and breaking it into 25-gram minis and swapping those. Now you can get 10 and 20-gram minis from all the indie dyers, and so there's not as much need for it. But back then it was imperative to get it this way, and you wanted 5 grams, because if you were making a Cozy Memories blanket, the initial, they were these small mitered squares, or if you were making the Hexi Flat or Hexi Puff, the Beekeeper's Quilt blanket, which is made out of a bunch of hexaflats, hexagonal puffy things that some people made flat, like me. Anyway, so I had, all told, I had 1,400 grams of 5-gram minis, and I put them in rainbow order, and then I separated them in half. And so I had 2 700-gram groups, and then I held them double. So I was getting like a DK weight yarn, and I knit just garter stitch. I cast on 250 stitches and just knit until I ran out of yarn. I did use magic loop on these, and I wish that I hadn't, because some of them the knots have come undone. I don't recommend weaving in all of the ends, obviously, because that would have been a lot. But I think that if I were to do something like this again, I would do the clasped weft join instead, it's a lot more secure. So yes, but I did do magic knots, and I wasn't about to undo them once I started noticing they were not as reliable as I had hoped. So I've just got some spots that are a little bit weird that I might have to re-knot throughout the existence of this blanket, and I'm okay with that. I started with black because black is my least favorite color, and then went the rainbow that way. So I went black to pink to red, orange to yellow, green, blue, purple, and then ended in brown. And so here is, let's see if I can get the whole thing in. There it is. I love it. I love how mottled it looks. I love the colors. I mentioned the stitch marker. Where is that? It's right here. It is right there. So the last time I showed you guys, I was right in the middle of the blue. Looks like. It took me longer to finish it than I thought, but I just got, you get to a point where you're just like, I am tired of this. Why won't it ever end? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, it's over. So that's about how it went. It was so easy to knit. It was great for mindless knitting. It did get heavy after a while, and I like took a break from it in the summer. I started it like last spring, and I took a break from it in the summer because it was too hot to work on. But yeah, it was, all in all, it was a very rewarding project. It now sits in our living room. It has its own chair. That is where it is, and when it's cold, it gets pulled off the chair and is my lap blanket, and I love it. I'm so glad I'm so glad I made it. I'm super glad that I was able to use up all those minis that had been just sitting in a bucket, in a Rubbermaid tub for so many years, that I thought I was just going to have to throw away, because there's not a lot of use for 5-gram minis anymore. But this was a perfect way for it, and I will definitely be doing more of these kinds of marled projects. Maybe not blankets, but I've got ideas for sweaters and stuff like that. I really enjoyed this process. And so all told, it was about 5,600 yards in that blanket. Really, really nice to use up all of that leftover stuff. Okay, next I have a cowl. I had I think it was the Naughty Knitwits, maybe in 2018. They were doing a lot of these mini things where you would send in your money, and then a indie dyer would send out 10 40-yard minis for just you would get them. You would get 10 40-gram minis, and it was great. I think that it's kind of how things like row one got started. But this one I'd gotten, and I normally just put it in with all of the rest of my minis, or I use them for heels and toes on socks and stuff like that. But this one, all of the minis were a cohesive group, and I really wanted to use them together. The yarn was in the deep hue C, Hue, and it was perfect to put together, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with it, and I decided to make a sock head cowl, which is a pattern by Mindy Asplin. The sock head hat is probably one of her most famous patterns. It's a very simple slouchy hat that is made out of sock yarn. This is the cowl version. So also very simple, made out of sock yarn, lots of stockinette. It was perfect. And so I knit it. This was kind of a rainbow, as you can see. I split it so that it wouldn't be so obviously rainbow-y. So it's still in the same order, but it's not starting with red like so many rainbow things do. And it's just like 4 inches of 2x2 rib, and then a mile of stockinette, and then 4 inches of 2x2 rib. Very, very simple. I did use the clasped weft join on this, which was perfect. I basically knit until each mini was gone, and then did the join and started with the next one. Very, very simple to knit. And yeah, and this was literally just something to work on in January when I was working, 65 hours a week and couldn't think about anything. So I just cast this on, and the few minutes that I had between bed, between work and bed each night, this is what I would work on. I had many, many days where I was getting up, because I was still working at home, and walking from the bedroom into here at 7 a.m. and then working until 8 p.m. and then turning around and walking back into the bedroom to go to bed. I was so tired. Thankfully things have gotten a little bit better. But yeah, so that is what this is. In the Deep you see made the Sockhead Cowl by Mindy Asplin. And then the next several FOs are socks. They're all the same pattern, and they have been my most recent obsession. We have recently gone back into the office. I think I've been in the office for a month now, and it's been good, actually. I was not looking forward to going back, just simply because I'm a homebody and I like to be home. But I have to admit that I feel more productive in the office. I like being able to see my coworkers. The whole office isn't back, just bits and pieces. And so there's only like half of my department that's in, because of different extenuating circumstances. And so it's not overwhelming with people, but it's nice to see people in person again. And to get dressed. Like I was spending every day in sweats, or yoga pants, because they're comfortable and there was no reason to bother getting dressed, because where was I going to go? And now I get to wear clothes again, which is kind of nice. Anyway, so while I was still working from home, I would look when I was waiting for a PDF to load, or, a website to come up or something like that. I would look around my office. This is my office. It's also my yarn room and my library, and where the dog looks out the window. And over here, you guys can't see it, but I have these 2 baskets on the wall, and one has all of my commercial sock yarn, like Regia and Opal and that kind of thing, and it also has all of my sock blanks there. And then the other one has my gobstopper balls, which are the ones, they're balls that is mostly self-striping yarn that has been rolled into a gobstopper ball, and my 50-gram sock yarn skeins. So like here, this is all of my regular sock yarn, all 100-gram skeins, and that's where that lives. But these special ones, they're over here in the basket. And I was looking and see all these 50-gram balls that I love, not balls, but skeins that I love, and I don't knit often, because they can only be knit into shorty socks or something that isn't socks at all. But I wanted them for socks, and I haven't been knitting shorty socks. If you remember, last year, pretty much all I knit was Christmas socks, and they all needed to be full-size socks. And so I decided that I wanted to knit a pair of shorty socks. thought about the Rose City rollers, which I really enjoy and like, but one of the pairs of socks that I like an awful lot is the pair that I knit out of the Tabby Tug sock pattern by oh, sorry, I misread my notes. The Sockhead Cowl was by Kelly McClure. I think I said Mindy Asplin. It's by Kelly McClure. The Tabby Tug socks is by Mindy Asplin. So that's the pair of socks that I love, shorty socks that I really enjoy the way they fit, and I wear them a lot when I am wearing appropriate shoes to wear short socks. And so I decided that I wanted to go ahead and make my next pair out of that. So I had started these socks, and I think I showed them to you last podcast. I think they were started. And I had initially, at that point, I was still planning on making them into full-size socks, but I decided that I wanted to make these into the Tabby Tug. So I took that 100-gram skein and only made 50 grams worth of sock, which means that I still have 50 grams to use on something else, which is great because I absolutely love this colorway. But this is This is pine. Oh, poop in a bucket. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember, unfortunately, the yarn dyer. But I fell in love with these socks. This yarn is amazing, right? I mean, look at those. Look at those colors. So pretty, kind of iridescent. I think that's the colorway name, is iridescent, actually. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the dyer. Like Piney Creek yarn, maybe? Oh, that's going to kill me. I hate when I do that, but it's been so long since I made these. I think I finished these in January. So it's been a long time since I looked at the label. But anyway, so the first sock, which is this one, I knit toe up and did because the Tabby Tug sock pattern, which is a free pattern, I believe, gives instructions on top down and toe up for this tug cuff, if you will. And so I was initially, when I cast this on, I was going to make it a full-size sock, so I was going toe up, which is my favorite way to knit socks. And so I got here and I did the tug. I don't like it. I don't like it toe up. It's got nothing to do with the pattern. It's just my own personal preference. I wasn't as keen with the way this looks. Like, you can see a definite dividing line there, and it's a little bit tighter, and that's basically because of the way that I had to cast it off. And so I decided to do the second sock top down to see if it would really make that big of a difference. And it really did. So this is the second sock. You can see you don't have that dividing line, and it's much looser. So I've decided that for this pattern, I definitely prefer top down instead of toe up. So I decided I'm going to knit these socks top down, which is fine. There's no rule that says that I have to knit all my socks toe up. I am an ambidextrous sock knitter, so there's no reason to just do it one way all the time. So I finished this pair, decided I wanted to make more of these because that was fun, especially the second sock. I really like the process. And so I cast on 4 other pairs. Let's see, I kind of worked on them all simultaneously. Like, I got the cuffs ready on the first sock for all 4 pairs, and then just started working on the socks. I would, just switch them out every so often. And then I got the cuffs ready on all 4 of the second socks and worked on them. So it was kind of neat to work on them all in conjunction with each other. So this is one pair that I finished. This is actually mustache yarn. I got the Christmas Advent from 2019, and it came with a 50-gram skein of figgy pudding. And so that's what this brown color is. And this is Chasing Rabbits fiber in the indigo colorway that I used on my dark water sweater. So I didn't have enough, obviously, because I'd already used it for heels and toes on those Christmas socks. So I grabbed a heel toe skein to use for these. And so that was one of the pairs. This awesome pair you might recognize because I knit a sweater. Well, I knit a rocket tee out of this colorway last year. And this is Look on the Bright Side by Leading Men Fiber Arts. I had initially bought a 50-gram skein with a plan to make a pair of shorty socks out of it. Decided that that I only needed like a skein and a half to make the rocket tee, so I bought a full skein. And then found out that I didn't need a skein and a half. I only needed, or maybe it was 2.5 skeins, something like that. Anyway, whatever I had to buy to make the rocket tee, I had like 50 grams left over in 2 balls. I think I had like 40 in one and 43 in one and like 7 in the other. And so I put them together and made these socks. I was afraid that the change was going to be obvious, but I really don't see where I changed color. I don't remember which sock it was on. I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe I'll see it when I'm editing, but I can't when I'm looking at them. I don't really see it. But I do really love this colorway. This is one of my favorites. It's just such a pretty colorway. And speaking of pretty colorways, I was very happy to be able to finally knit up one of the sock sets, or most of a sock set, from my friend Erin, who is the dyer and sewist behind Bling Your String. And she also has the She Must Knit podcast. She dyes some gorgeous yarns, and she does these sets sometimes where she will find some fabric that she likes, make a bag out of it, and then dye sock sets and sock blanks to coordinate with the fabric. And so this is one that I fell in love with. It's called Hummingbird, I believe. And it's just so pretty. I obviously didn't use the heel toe cuff skein. Her sock sets come with a 50-gram main color and then a 20-gram heel toe cuff skein. I didn't use the 20 grams. I put it aside for other heels, toes, and cuffs. But this is perfect, and I do really love this colorway as well. And then I have one more pair that I made for myself. I don't know if you can see outside, but it's really starting to be whitewashed now. I had expected that we were going to wake up and it was going to be all snowy because it was supposed to start at like midnight. And when I woke up, everything was green, and I was like, well, they've been warning us about this, 2 feet of snow we're supposed to get, and there hasn't even been any. So it's good to at least see that it's at least coming a little bit. So this is the last pair that I made for myself. This is Giddy Yarns, and the colorway I think is called Vampire's Kiss. It was also a sock set, and I also didn't use the coordinating mini. Obviously, I can always use a mini on other things. I can use it on heels and toes for other socks. I do get, you guys can see right here, right here, those are sock tubes that I have hired Apple Juice to crank for me. By the way, she's changed her shop name. I think I'll put it right here because I can't remember exactly what it is, and I will link her shop down below. She's amazing for sock blanks, sock tubes. Goodness. Anyway. So I can always use a 20-gram mini. I can make it in part of a sweater and all kinds of things. But I do really like using a full 50-gram skein to to make a pair of shorty socks. So yeah, these are great. I'm very excited. I have now 5 pairs to add to my sock drawer, and they have been sitting on the bookshelf since I finished them, which is a long time, especially for this pair. And so it'll be nice to add them to my collection. Whew. I did have some left over. It didn't take a full 50-gram skein. Let me show you what I had left over. So this is how much I had left of the Giddy yarns, and this is how much I had left of Bling Your String. I think they're about, 6 grams, maybe 7. That Bling Your String is Happy Hummingbird, by the way. I got that colorway wrong. But I will put these in for, heels or toes or other things that I need little minis on. And I'm not done making Tabby Tug socks. They're so much fun. So I was at my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial, in February, I guess, maybe, possibly. And I was looking around, I'm trying to support them, and I didn't really need any yarn, but I'm like, I should go and purchase something and support them. So I did. Oh, no, I was there for a reason. I mean, for a specific reason other than just to pet the pretties. I've decided that I want to collect every single Rowan magazine, just the Knitting and Crochet magazine. They've put out, this is the most recent one, 68 of them, and although I think the 69th is coming. And they've put out 2 a year since like 1987. And I want all of them. So I've been collecting them. So I wanted to see if they had any of the older, but not so old, like, the ones from 2 or 3 years ago. And I was looking at other things. By the way, I am really trying to collect all of them. I am missing about 30. This is my list. I wrote them all down, and the year, and this is how I work. So yeah, I've been looking on eBay and stuff like that. If you have one that you don't want and you wouldn't mind selling to me for a reasonable price, I'm happy to purchase those from you. Anyway, while I was there, I happened to look down, and there was a little basket on a low shelf, and it had these little 25 gram Regia balls, and I was like, those are so cute. I need them. If you don't know, miniature things and me, that I just love miniature things. So this is a little tiny Regia ball. It's a quarter of the regular sized Regia balls, the 100-gram skeins. So, and it's called Regia Baby Smiles, my first Regia, and it's meant to make baby socks. Well, 25 grams is just enough to make one of these socks. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab doubles of all of them. Well, they didn't have doubles of all of them. They only had doubles in this color, which is 1889, and it's like a rainbow. It's gorgeous. Totally making a pair of socks out of these. I just haven't started them yet. But they did have singles, and my daughter, Delaney, my 13-year-old, does not match her socks like ever. She has a plethora of matching socks. She does not match them when she wears them. So I thought I could make a bunch of single socks for her, and so I did. I got 3 different balls. This one is 1819, and that is the sock that I made out of that one. I think that with a baby sock, a baby size sock, this would stripe a little bit more, as opposed to kind of the flashing that we're getting with those blues and greens, dark blue and greens. But I think it looks cute. And then this colorway is 1719. A little bit patriotic looking, if you're in America, with the red, white, and blue. And then this last one is colorway 1794. It's got purples and gray. And so I made her 3 mismatched socks. And they're just going to go in her drawer, and she's going to wear them. And she won't even wear these together. You know, it's not like she's going to go out like this. She's going to wear one of these socks and then a full-size sock that is, 12 different colors. And that's just the way she does, and that's totally cool with me. She can do her however she wants to do her. That's how we work in this family. So yeah, that's the final Tabby Tug socks that I have finished, but I am starting some new ones. And the next pair is going to be out of these. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make them for Delaney or if I'm going to make them for me, because I have to admit that I love the colors in this. And yeah, so it all depends on how much she sucks up to me. So you do a, oh my gosh, what kind of cast on is that? It's like I can't ever remember it. I always want to say progressive, but I don't think that's it. A provisional cast on. So you do a provisional cast on, which I do with a crochet hook, which has been great because I have been using this one for it. Now this is obviously not a fingering weight crochet hook, but I find it's easier to pick up the stitches if it's nice and loose, and so I've been using this one. I have no idea where I got this crochet hook from, but I absolutely love it. It not only is it gorgeous, but it's they've taken the polymer clay and put it around a Susan Bates. This is Susan Bates, right? Yeah, a Susan Bates crochet hook, and I like Susan Bates for the sharpness of the hooky bit. I have another one that I bought off Etsy, this one, and it is also gorgeous with the polymer clay, but they're using a different crochet hook and it's less sharp, and I don't like it as much. I'm kind of bummed because the handle is gorgeous. But yeah, I would love, if you guys know of an Etsy seller that makes these with the Susan Bates hooks, let me know, because I would love to get some more. But yeah, I have also discovered that I like Knit Picks crochet hooks, but I'll talk about those in a minute because I have some crochet to show you as well. But anyway, so I've made, you basically make a chain, and then you go around and you pick up the stitches from the chain, and that's your provisional cast on. And you knit the cuff with the tab, and then put them together, and then you knit the sock down. So I've learned that if I'm going to make a bunch of these, then I kind of like to do it as a an assembly line. So I made all of these chains all at once. Like I did like 10 of them, and then started on the socks. And so these are the 2 that I had left, which are for this yarn. And so those will be the next pair of socks that I get started on. I am still planning on finishing my Christmas socks. I do still have all that yarn there that is for the leftover Christmas socks, but I'm still not there yet. I'm still slightly burned out on Christmas socks from last year. So yeah, it will happen, but just not yet. So then, the last things that I have to show you is crochet, because I've been crocheting. I don't know if you guys recall, but last year sometime, I knit a Yoda hat and a Princess Leia hat. See if I can post pictures right here. They were for a co-worker who's a dear friend, who was her son's wife, her daughter-in-law, was having their first grandchild. It's the first baby on either side, and so super excited about it. And they are big Star Wars fans, and so they asked if I could make a Princess Leia and a Yoda hat for the baby. I did, loved it. And then the baby had the audacity to continue to grow, and so neither hat fit anymore. So they asked if I could make a new Yoda hat. And I said, sure, of course. The problem is that I didn't really enjoy the pattern for the original. It was okay, but I was like, let's make it better. So I started trolling through Ravelry, and I have found that for stuff like that, the cutest patterns are crochet. I have very little experience with crochet. I have basically made an amigurumi sugar skull and a crochet blanket, and that was it. So I was like, well, I'm taking a chance here, but let's try it. So I found the pattern's called Yoda Crochet Pattern by Tori Fako. I believe it is a free pattern. And I grabbed some yarn. I was trying to find the yarn that she uses in the pattern, which is like Bernat something, Bernat Chunky or something like that. I couldn't find it in the right color anywhere, even online. And so I went on to Knitpicks website and got their Brava bulky weight, which is 100% acrylic. And I figured, that way the baby won't, the baby is not a baby anymore. She's like over a year old, I believe. But yeah, I figured, this way it'd be easy care, because now that she's becoming a toddler, she's going to get into things, and things are going to get messy and whatnot. So I thought, this way they could throw it in the washer and not have to worry about it being destroyed if it just gets gnarly. And I wasn't sure how well I was going to do. So I grabbed 2 hooks. Which were the 2 that were recommended. I had no idea what my my gauge was going to be, and don't judge, but I'm still not sure how to check gauge with crochet. But the yarn was inexpensive and the hooks were pretty. I got the let's see, the Radiant Wood, which is this one. See, a nice sharp, I like that. So this is an H, no, this is an I. My only complaint with Knitpicks hooks is that they don't have the size on the hook itself anywhere. I realize that you can just get a gauge and check it, but I have gotten spoiled with Chowgu needles, which is what I use. They're Chowgu red lace for all of my other knitting, and they are all stamped on the needle itself, so it's very easy to know which size you're grabbing. So I'm going to have to kind of, if I start making this crochet thing like a habit, I might have to like get some kind of system with the hooks. Currently, every hook that I have is in this little thing, this little pencil case, that actually this hook came in. This was like the packaging for it. It's super cute packaging. And all of these hooks are like from my grandmother type of a thing. Like they're all Susan Bates and whatnot. Ones that I have no idea about. Ones that I will probably never ever use, like that tiny thing. But I was like, well, I may want them sometime. And I will use them, but I also like things to be pretty. So anyway, I also got in the Caspian wood, which is the green, the H hook. So these are the two Knit Picks hooks that I got. I do like them. They're very pretty. They're comfortable to use. They're just, yeah, they're nice. I like them. I've enjoyed working with them. And like I said, the yarn wasn't very expensive. I was kind of certain I was going to screw up, so I bought several skeins. And I didn't really screw up. I started with this one. The hat pattern is very basic, and then the ears are not hard. Getting the ears onto the hat, not fun. I don't enjoy that. So I need to, I don't even like it for knitting. I hate having to make things symmetrical, because you never get it right, and it's terrible. I have an adorable fox hat that a friend made for me years ago. It's the cutest thing ever, but the ears are not right. Like, one's off, and I never wear it because the ears need to be redone, and I can't be bothered to change them because I hate it, right? Let me see if I can. Here it is. Super cute, right? Look at it. But when I put it on, one ear is forward and the other ear is back. And I'm like, I can't wear this because the ears are funky. And I can't fix it because that would be annoying. So it just sits. I need a local friend who wants to fix it. I think like, I can't tell if like one ear needs to go forward and the other ear needs to go back, or if they both, and if they didn't have ear flaps, then I could just, move the hat so that it fits. But then now the ear flaps don't. Yeah, so it's an issue. Well, this hat, oh no, sorry. This hat also has ear flaps. So I'm like, I hope I don't screw this up. So here's what I've done. I feel like it's better than the fox hat. I don't know. What do you guys think? Be nice, because I'm not changing it. So here's the first hat that I finished. And I'm like, this hat fits me. It's supposed to fit like a 1-year-old. That's not going to work. So I decided I have enough yarn. Obviously I can make the hat without screwing it all up. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple. So this is actually for the mom. And this one's for, oops, that's backwards. This one's for the baby. It is quite a bit smaller, and yeah, but the ears are the same. So this one I think is actually even cuter because the ears are so big, right? So yeah, and I am making, done messed up my hair. I'm making one for Dad. Here's Dad's so far. I still have some more to do. I am not making ear flaps on this one because I feel like for Dad it needs to be ear flap free. So I have the ears ready to go. I just need to finish this hat and sew the ears on. And I'm hoping to do that while we're snowed in today so that on Monday I can take it and give it to my friend, and she can then pass it on to her son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter, and maybe they'll take a picture of all of them wearing their Yoda hats. I'm very excited. I hope they like it. I am a little bit disappointed in the yarn. Not the crocheting with it. It's pleasant to crochet with, but I feel like it's looking worn just with me crocheting it, and I wish that it didn't. I wish that it looked fresher. crisper, and it's not, and that's kind of bumming me out. But there's nothing to be done about it now. I did tell my friend, I said, if they get these, or they get this, because she doesn't know I'm making 3. If they get this hat and it ends up just looking like crap real quick, let me know and I will get some different yarn and make another one. I'm really hoping that it won't happen, because I don't really want to make another one because of the ears. Like, if I could figure out how to do it like crocheting the ears on or something, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like sewing things on. Guys, that's it. I don't really have any yarn to show you. I have picked up yarn like, this, but really not much, and I don't remember exactly what I bought, and so I'm just going to go ahead and stop here. I do apologize again if this is a disjointed podcast. I hope that you guys enjoyed a little bit of it. I don't know. Be kind if you didn't. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and go and clean up my mess that's all over my desk now, and finish crocheting a Yoda hat. You guys won't see the last hat finished unless you follow me on Instagram. I'll take a picture of all 3, but because I'm going to be trying to give them on Monday, I won't have them except for a photo. So yeah, have a good weekend. If you're in Colorado, please stay safe, because that snow is supposed to be significant. And yeah, we'll talk to you later. Happy knitting. Bye.